Good morning, everybody. It's just a few of us this morning, and that's okay. Just getting started, and we are going to start with some gratitude. Remember, we like to start our day by filling our bucket with things that we're grateful for. And if anybody would like to share, please do. Well, I know this morning I am grateful for I don't know, just another day, right? It's we're at the end of June, which is hard to believe, and I'm just grateful that right now my family's healthy and somewhat happy, and we're here together. So that's what I'm grateful for this morning. Does anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I'm just grateful for the referrals that are being sent my way by people that I haven't even sold houses to yet.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Christina, you're new in the business, yeah?
Yeah, I'll hit 3 months the beginning of July. I'll be
Got it.
licensed.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Getting
Now
those.
I just need to get them to respond and start making some actions happen.
It's all in the activity. Yep. No worries. Who else? Anybody else want to share what they're grateful for this morning? Okay, no worries. I would like to share stats. So I am going to attempt to open that as usual. Um, let's see what we got here. And our market stats are going to be right here. Everybody can see those? Jenna, can you see those? Can you nod? You can't see that?
No, you can just see the top of your skirt, like the top of your
Really?
bar.
Let me try again. Hold on. Thanks. We are going to share again and go to, here we go. There we go. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So even though it doesn't look like Charlotte, no, we're doing 7 day totals right now. So that just so that you know we're up to speed with everybody. But let's go over here and go to Greater Charleston because that is who is on the call. So these are just good to review in the morning just to see what your market's doing. So for for listings, you have 2,600 listings going right now. Pending is 446. Close is 1663. Your price changes are 3450. Then we have back on the market almost 500 for the month, and expired is at 239. Just to compare your markets, let's see. In May, so you're going about the same. So May you had about 2,800 listings, and in June we've got with just a few. We got another weekend coming, so you'll probably surpass that. So your market's kind of holding steady with the new listings. Your price reductions, let's see what's going on. Those price changes were at 3450 this month so far. Last month, yeah, so you guys are staying pretty consistent, 3412. It's a little bit of an uptick in June, but the biggest thing that we're seeing here, guys, is the market's holding steady, right? Things are still going under contract May to June, but you are seeing those price changes. And remember, this is a big thing to kind of focus on because the more price changes you have statistically, the longer your house will be on the market. So it's really important that when you're going in there, having those conversations and making sure you are pricing ahead of this market. Christina, you're off mute. Did you have any questions?
No, sorry, I'm in the
That's
car.
all right. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't talking over you. No worries. And then, I mean, just in comparison, guys, Greater Charlotte, I mean, our price reductions are crazy town. We're at 8,800 price reductions for June, and in May was 5,700. So our clients are really not, and this, remember, this is Greater Charlotte, so this is everything from basically Fort Mill, South Carolina, all the way up to like Lexington, North Carolina. Our MLS is quite large, but again, there's opportunity there with our price reductions and being and talking our folks through that. And then the expireds and withdrawns. So 512 for expireds and withdrawns. What are you guys looking at expireds and withdrawns? Yeah, so there's for June for you guys, you're looking at what is that, 700, 800 basically, right there, almost 800 even. Those are great, for especially people getting new in the business. Those are great folks to call. You can probably pull that list right off of MLS and do some cross references to get a phone number. But yeah, the market is interesting right now. Our 30-year fixed is 6.89, 15-year fixed 6.16, FHA 6.45, and VA 6.47, and our unemployment rate is 4.2%. So again, just to give you some statistics as you're heading into the week, well, not the weekend, as we're in midweek, just important just to kind of know where we are. So today, guys, I wanted to talk to you about this kind of myth that we have about being busy. I'm a big reader of The One Thing by Jay Papasan. Jay and Gary and Jason Abrams are like the three head honchos for KWRI or KW LLC. And I know this quote hit me a little different, especially in this time of life, but I'm going to read it to you and then just take a moment to like process it. So, knocking out 100 tasks for whatever the reason is a poor substitute for doing even one task that is meaningful. Not everything matters equally, and success isn't a game won by whoever does the most. Let's read that again. Knocking out 100 tasks for whatever the reason is a poor substitute for doing even one task that is meaningful. Not everything matters equally, and success isn't a game won by whoever does the most. What do you think about that? When I read that the other day on Instagram, Christina, go ahead.
Guilty as charged.
For sure. Especially that last sentence, right? Not everything matters equally, and success isn't a game won by whoever does the most. I mean, that really resonates with me. So here's a question for you guys. Have you ever felt proud just because you're busy? Like, have you ever just been like, gosh, I'm proud of myself
Yes.
because you just get things done, right? I'm a task list person. So
I love to check things off the list.
yeah, and I'm like one of those people, have task lists everywhere. I mean, I've got notebooks and I get my little dopamine kick when I do the check mark. I even add things to my task list so that I can then check them off, right? But busy doesn't mean productive though, right? Busy doesn't mean successful. And so we're going to kind of really tackle what it means about like multitasking and how you should better focus your time. We live in a culture right now, right, that worships hustle. I mean, my hashtag used to be always hustling. Like I used to put that on the bottom of some of the things that write, whether it was like taking my kids to dance or soccer or selling a house or bringing in new agents to Keller Williams. That was my hashtag. And it's because we kind of glorify that, right? We glorify the busy. We have our kids are really busy. We glorify us being busy. And really what it is more emails, it's more calls, it's more tasks, those types of things. But the reality is multitasking is a lie. Your brain doesn't, and I read this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But it said, your brain does not multitask. It switch task. Every time you jump from one thing to another, your brain wastes time and energy. And the result is more fatigue, less quality, and things that aren't done well. Imagine trying to, and I thought that was really interesting, right? I used to pride myself, or I used to talk about, yeah, I'm a great multitasker. My mother-in-law tells me I'm a great multitasker, and she means it as a compliment because there's just so many things pushing me from different directions. But ironically, the thing is, when you multitask, you're not doing really anything well because you're not giving it your undivided attention. So there's this analogy within the One Thing about bridges. So imagine trying to build 10 bridges at once. You lay a few bricks on each, but you never finish any. But then compare that to building one bridge at a time. That's how you actually cross the river. That's how you make real progress. Being busy is not the same as being effective. So let's change right. Let's just pause there a minute. Being busy is not the same as being effective. Just let that sit for a minute. Being busy is not the same as being effective. Here's some more insight that Jay gives. He says, not everything matters equally. So think of your time, and I think we've all heard the jar analogy, but let's talk about it in a minute. Think of your time like a jar. Big rocks are your most important task, right? I know that I meet with my market center office manager in the morning, and we talk about what our big tasks are. We talk about the big things that have to happen this week, even though we know other little tasks may show up, but there are big rocks that help the market center move forward. So big rocks are your most important task. Pebbles are useful but non-essential work. And then you have sand. That's distractions, emails, noise, social media, scrolling. So if you start with sand, just think about it. If you have a jar and you start with sand, you run out of room for the rocks, right? Because the sand has filled it in. But if you start with the rocks, everything else fits around them, right? Everything else fits around them. And that's the same thing when you're talking about what you need to do and how to be effective. It's your big rocks that you have to make sure get done. It's the big things that you have to make sure that are propelling your business forward. So in real estate, you can spend hours, and I have people in my office who do this. In fact, I do this. You can spend hours rearranging folders or tweaking a post or fixing your social media or fixing your buyer packet. It's just the distractions are endless. But if you didn't make a lead call, if you didn't book an appointment, or if you didn't go on a listing presentation, did you really move the needle forward? Right? Did you spend all of your time, and it's a little bit of working in your business versus on your business. If you work on your business, you're really in there, and sometimes it has to get done, right? That has to get done. But is it the most important thing? Focus on your vital two, not the, focus on your vital few, not your trivial many. So let's pause there for a minute. So I thought this was really, we all come in and we all want to focus on what we like to do. For example, I really like command, you guys, and I'm a very, if you, on Wednesdays, I follow a little bit more of tactical type of things, how you set up systems and process. I can get in the weeds with that all day long. I can go into command and tag my database and do this and do that without going out and saying, okay, I need to be making phone calls. I need to be reaching out to my agents in the office to see how I can help them. I need to be reaching out to agents at other firms to see how Keller Williams can help them, right? How about you guys? Do you guys find yourself distracted by the pebbles and the sand instead of focusing on your big rocks?
All the time.
That's right. That's right. All the time. All the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do that all the time. Um, it's human, but it's also one of those things where we have to be mindful of it because it's a distraction from our bigger goal. Jay and Gary, who wrote the one thing, this is their core question in the one thing. The question is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So let's break that down. He says the one thing, not a dozen, not five, it's the one thing. Then, such that by doing it, it has leverage, right? So such by doing it, such that by doing it, it has ripple effects. Everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. So let's break it down again. One thing, not a dozen, such that by doing it, there's leverage involved, and everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. It has a ripple effect. So let's relate that to our daily business. In real estate, what is the one thing that you should be doing every day that's like really your big rock?
Lead generation.
Lead generation. And more specifically, what about lead generation?
Calling people, following up with, with our clients.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your day, regardless of anything you do, it I mean, I think you should take care of yourself, obviously, as one of your big rocks. So whatever that looks like to you, start your morning with taking care of yourself, whether that's meditating or having a moment of gratitude or whatever that looks like, or just silence or whatever that looks like. But then focusing on lead generation. And I know it's not sexy. I know it's not, people always go, but lead generation is very important because that's the only thing that's going to get you business. So it's making phone calls, it's setting appointments, it's perfecting your craft. Lori, did you want to say something?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I did.
That's okay. No, your box turned green. No worries. So he says maybe it's making that daily lead follow-up call. Maybe it's setting 2 appointments. Maybe that's what's going on. The other part of figuring out your big rocks is you've got to protect it. You've got to make it non-negotiable. And that's really hard in a society that glorifies the hustle, that glorifies the busy, right? You've got to make it a point especially just getting started, whatever that may be, of the activity, because the activity is what you can focus on. You can't necessarily focus on the result. So what I mean by that is you're going to focus on what you can control. So it's the activity of making the call, sending the text message, sending the follow-up email. We can't always control the appointment. But if you're doing those dials, if you're doing those numbers, that's really what's propelling you to success, right? It's not the Canva image that you're going into Canva and making a pretty flyer. And you can spend days and time and hours trying to make sure you've got the right colors and those types of things. That's not the focus. The focus should be on that lead generation and on your activity that propels your business forward. And especially with agents, that's typically what your one of your one thing is. Your other one thing could be your skill set, right? Your buyer presentation, your seller presentation, making sure you can have those conversations. So ask yourself, what's the one thing, if I did it consistently, would make the biggest difference? What is the one thing that if I did it consistently would make the biggest difference? This could be we can start small or go big. 5 phone calls a day, 10 phone calls a day, make 100 phone calls a week. That is a great start when you're starting in real estate, right? Even when you're in the middle of your career in real estate, making those calls. What am I doing out of habit that doesn't move me forward? That's the other thing. What can you take out of your hustle? What else can you remove from your time that you're like, I really don't need to be doing that. For me, that is my mindless scroll that I do at night. The mindless scroll on Facebook or Instagram. And I bounce back and forth, mindless scrolling. And I think it's a way to decompress, but it's also a distraction. I have every intention to be asleep by 11, and then I end up not being asleep till 12:15 because I'm just mindlessly scrolling. And then number 3, am I focused on what's important or just what's urgent? That's another good one. Are you focusing on what's important or just what's urgent? And don't get me wrong, that urgent stuff has to be taken care of, but you have to protect the important. So your one thing has power. You do it early. Like I said, protect it from distraction, because when you focus on your most meaningful task first, you feel different. You feel productive, you're confident, you're aligned. I know that if I come in the morning and I set an appointment before 11 o'clock, I feel good for the rest of the day. My goal is 2, but setting 1, especially during the summertime, that's golden for me. And then I'm going to leave you with this. Again, another kind of analogy and visual that you can see. If you chase 2 rabbits, you will never catch either one. And that's a Russian proverb. If you chase 2 rabbits, you will not catch either one. So don't chase every task. Don't try to do it all. And I know that's hard, so I'm talking to myself. Don't try to do it all. Success doesn't go to the person who checks the most boxes. Guys, if you could see my office, I have flip charts with just things that I check off. And it makes me feel better. But if it's not moving my needle, if it's not getting me closer to my end goal, the success doesn't go to the person who checks the most boxes. It goes to the person who knows what matters most and commits to doing it. So, guys, it's Wednesday, it's hump day, it's hot. Make your phone calls, figure out what your one thing is, focus there, and we will see you with Reverend Cohn tomorrow. Okay?
Thanks, Meredith.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else? Any questions?
Hey, Meredith, I want to say one thing. You're talking about the scrolling at night. I found myself doing that too, and I've made a point now when I do that to make sure comment on at least 4 or 5 people's posts.
Fantastic.
So I make it that I'm
Meaningful.
not just scrolling, but I'm doing something. Yeah, I'm
That's
making it
good.
meaningful.
That's actually very good. Make it meaningful, because if you're gonna be there anyway, if you know you can't help yourself,
Yep.
because at least that way they'll start seeing your content and see that you're real estate. Good point, Lori. I love that. Anybody else?
But thanks for pointing that out, because I do that.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday.
Thanks, Meredith.
See ya.